Hi everyone. Today I would like to address the de minimis exemption in the US going away because this is a big problem. Nobody really knows what's going on, and that's why it's a problem. What is happening if you've been living under a rock is that the US has imposed tariffs on other countries, and there is an exemption for shipments that come into the US that are $800 or less, that nobody has to pay import fees on them. That is going away on August 29th. So on August 29th, every package that comes into the US is going to have to pay import fees. Now, because all of the tariffs and the tariff rates on different countries are all fluctuating, seriously, I mean, things could change 12 times between now and then also. So if this video is irrelevant in 10 minutes, I'll delete it and post a new one. But basically, we don't know what's going to happen, and based on the rates that are in place on August 29th and beyond, that's how much technically people would have to pay if they ordered a package from another country and it came in, and then they would have to pay the tariff. Now, the problem is, like I said, the tariff rates can change, and because the system is set up so that generally what happens in the US, if somebody gets a package that has postage due or there is a fee for an import tax or something like that, the post office holds that package and sends a message to your house. They send a little slip to your house that says you have a package to pick up and this is how much you owe on it. So you have to go to the post office and pay the fee, and then they give you your package. Now, the problem with what's going on is that there have been two options given for international shipments. The first is, I think it's called ad valorem, which basically is that the shipping company, which would be the post office in this case, can charge the customer the actual percentage that the country of origin of that package is being charged in tariffs. So if it's a 15% tariff in, whatever country, I don't even know, then that the customer would pay a 15% import fee on that package that's less than $800 now. So it would be 15% of 800. So that would be $120. Is that right? Wow. Okay. So that's a big chunk of change if you're ordering anything. Well, that's if it's $800. Okay. It would be on the value of the package. But what the other option that people are being given, like shipping companies are being given for 6 months after August 29th, which covers basically the last half of the year and into the new year, is that they can just charge a flat fee based on the percentage of tariff of the origin country. And it's, regardless of the value of the package, it could be an $80 to $200 fee, which is essentially 10 to 25% of $800. So instead of figuring out the value of the package and using that as the basis to charge the percentage of the tariff, and that's how much the customer pays, they can just say, we're just doing, $80 because that country has a 10% tariff rate. And they're not even going to look at the value of the package. They have that option until 6 months after August 29th. What they should be doing is actually looking at the value of the package. So if it's a $1 item, they should be charging a 10-cent tariff fee if the country that it comes from has a 10% tariff rate. They should be charging 25 cents if it's a 25% tariff rate. But knowing how most organizations work, my guess is that as long as there is that ability to just charge a flat fee and not have to do the extra math, that's what most people are going to do. So I would guess that the post office, FedEx, UPS, whatever, is just going to say, we're just doing the flat fee until we can figure this out. Because it is going to be a change for all of these organizations. It's going to be a lot of work to figure this out, put systems in place, the whole thing. Instead of speculating about this, though, I went to the post office and I asked them, how are you going to handle this? And they said, we have been given no guidance. Nobody knows. Nobody's told us anything. So he was going to check, like the clerk that I talked to was going to check with the supervisor, and I'm going to go back next week to see if they have any more information. I doubt that they will. And honestly, things have been changing so fast and so frequently that I think most people are just assuming it's going to change again. And they're just like, let's wait until August 28th to figure this out. Which is why I also think that they're just going to default to that flat fee for a while until they figure out how they're handling this. Okay. So my advice for international sellers would be to have August as your no tariff required sale month. Okay, just have some promotions going on this month. Tell people buy now because we don't know what's going to happen. Things might be more expensive. Nobody knows. The post office doesn't know yet. They have not told them anything. So nobody knows. Have the sales going on, have the promotions, email to your email list, tell people to buy now, and just get that one step done. The next thing is to wait to see what Etsy does, because if Etsy sets up a system on the Etsy shopping cart where customers are paying the tariff there instead of having the post office charge it to them, then that's going to be a lot easier for customers. It's going to be easier for customers because they'll be able to see the price and they'll be able to decide then whether to buy it or not. If Etsy does not set something like that up, I genuinely would close my Etsy shop, put it on vacation, or just take the US out of your sales countries for a while, because I personally would not want to send packages to the US not knowing if the customer is going to get that slip from the post office that says, you owe us this much, come and get your package. They're going to say, heck no, I'm not going to pay that. And they're just going to abandon the package. It will eventually be returned to you. There's no charge for return shipping if it's just a return to sender. It goes straight back to you. You don't have to pay the postage, but you are going to have to refund that package. And depending on how you have your shipping set up, you probably have to refund the shipping too. So I would consider not selling to the US for a while if Etsy doesn't put something in place, because I think that's going to be a big part of this. If Etsy puts something in place to collect the tariffs there, then that's 95% of it, because there are always mistakes that are made. They always, somebody's going to get a package and be told they have to pay the tariff, and then you have to deal with that. But for the most part, people will see the amount in the shopping cart and decide whether to buy it or not. And my guess is that it is going to hurt international sellers. There's no way around this. But I will also say that I had to stop selling to a lot of countries because of the taxes and restrictions that they had put in place. And this is years ago. So this is nothing new. It's just having to navigate the US system when we're not even sure what the system is. Wait until August 29th and see what actually happens. But if Etsy doesn't put something in place to capture those fees, I would not be selling to the US for a while until I figured out what was going on. Because right now, like I said, nobody knows. The other thing I would say, and just to finish this out, and this is really important, is do not assume that people know about this. Because my guess as an American is that the majority of Americans have never ordered something directly from an overseas seller. They might go to, Walmart and buy something that comes from overseas, and so they're going to see the increased price there. But I would guess that the majority have never shopped online and bought something directly from an overseas seller. So, and for people that say, oh, everybody knows about this. No, I had plenty of people, and this is one of the reasons that I stopped shipping internationally. I had plenty of people I can think of one person in the UK, had no idea that her country had been charging VAT taxes and a fee to deliver the package. I mean, there's all kinds of fees that she was not aware of. And when we're talking to each other as sellers, we know about this stuff. Customers don't know about this. So never assume that a customer will understand that they might have to pay a fee, because they don't. They don't understand it. They don't know about it. Even if the fees have been in place for years, like this woman in the UK, she was quite confused and angry at me because there was a VAT tax and then the post office charged her to deliver the package. And I'm like, these are not fees that I put in place, ma'am, and they've been there for years. So as sellers, we know about this, but customers don't. Never assume that customers know things, because they don't. You might want to put a little graphic in your listing photos that says VAT tax may apply. You can put that right up at the top of, or not VAT, tariffs, right? Tariff fees may apply. You can put it right up at the top of the description. Tariff fees may apply. It's just the kind of thing that you have to make sure that the customer knows. If Etsy is not putting that right in front of the customer at the checkout, then you need to be the one responsible for that, or you're going to get a lot of return packages. And honestly, I would probably be prepared to stop shipping to the US for a while until we figure out how they're actually handling it. And like I said, I'm assuming that the post office, if the collection is on this end, that the post office is going to be delivering messages to people, because they said that's how this is usually handled. And then you have to go to the post office and pick it up and pay your fee there. But I think that's going to result in a lot of return packages if people are not aware that that's going to happen. Okay, and never assume that people know that it's going to happen, because like all the European sellers and the Canadian sellers, oh, people know about this. Now they really don't. There are a lot of people who really genuinely do not know that when you order something from overseas, it's expensive because the shipping's more expensive and there might be taxes involved. They genuinely do not know this. Just understand that for yourself and you'll be better off. Okay. So give this video a thumbs up. If anything new happens, I will do another updated video and take this one down. For now, this is what I would plan on doing. Just make those sales. Make those sales this month, because you might have to shut your shop off to the US. And depending on what percentage of your sales that is, that could be a hit. There's no way around it. That's just how it goes. All right. So leave me any questions and I will talk to you later.